Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing yet another movie review. This movie is a drama from Iceland, Icelandic language English subs, released in the year 2017, directed by Hafstein Gunnar Sigurdsson, and this film is called Under the Tree. So Under the Tree is about neighbourly love and neighbourly interactions, and how those interactions can escalate into things that are uncontrollable if they're not dealt with early. And so you've got one set of neighbours who has a big tree, and the big tree is clouding and making a shadow on the neighbour's front porch. And so these neighbours want them to trim the tree, but these people don't want to do that, and so that it does create a bit of animosity between the two. So you've got this side story of a young guy who's just split up from his wife, and he is now living with this elderly couple, and he's starting to become involved in the escalation of the tension as well. And so as things start to, cats go missing, dogs go missing, and they start to blame each other, and it starts to get way out of hand, and it threatens to go down a very dangerous path. And so what that dangerous path is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Under the Tree. I didn't know what to expect with this movie. Icelandic cinema is very, very impressive, and I count it as Scandinavian cinema. I know it's technically not Scandinavia, but as far as Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Denmark and Norway, I kind of put them all in the same category. And so when I saw that this is a movie from Iceland, I definitely needed to go and check it out. I thought it looks very basic as far as, neighbours bickering between each other, but if Icelandic cinema in the past taught me anything, it's never take a movie for granted, never assume that you know what's going to happen in a film. And so although it had a very simple premise, I thought, what is Hafstein Gunnar Sigurdsson going to actually have in store for me? And so I was very curious. I had high expectations based on previous experiences, and I was very, very excited. But after watching Under the Tree, I will say that this movie completely blew me out of the water. It was so much better than I thought it would be, because once again Iceland have proved that they can take a very simple story and make it into such a complex, thought-provoking experience. And that's exactly what Under the Tree is. I thought this is absolutely phenomenal filmmaking. This director has taken a very simple story, he's interweaved it with many different genres. At the start of the film, it starts off as a funny sort of movie. The interactions between these neighbours, you can kind of relate to that. You can say, we've all had a bad neighbour, I'm sure, and the bickering between each of these neighbours is something that everyone can relate to. But then the further you go down the corridor watching this movie, the darker the atmosphere gets, and right up into the ending, that will send a chill down your spine. I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end, but it gets very, very dark, and it creeps up on you without you knowing. And so at the start you feel, okay, this is good, the script is absolutely phenomenal. But then the further you go along, the more you start to realise, alright, this invisible presence has been stalking me, and you don't realise it's been stalking you until it's too late. And then all of a sudden you've gone from laughing to being absolutely terrified by what's going on. And this is a cautionary tale about letting problems escalate to a level that it is uncontrollable, untenable. And so you have to deal with problems straight away, otherwise it's just going to explode. And this is basically a movie about small problems snowballing into something where you pass the point of no return. When these characters pass the point of no return, this is where it shifts into a very dark experience. And so there are tonal changes in this movie, but the tonal changes are handled expertly well, so it never feels like a different film. It feels like a very fluent movie. It's just making you feel different emotions. And so it has a simple story, but underneath there's a lot of complexity to this movie that makes it absolutely brilliant in my opinion. The cinematography captures the very monotonous lifestyle of suburbia, and at the start of the movie you've got this elderly couple with a younger couple, and I thought, alright, well this is everyday. And so it has the boredom of everyday monotony, but underneath the movie starts to escalate in a way where I thought, alright, this is getting very sinister. This is a very bleak and depressing experience that I wasn't expecting. And so I was expecting just a dark sort of comedy, but it steers clear of that, and it starts to, as I said, it plays with your emotions. It starts to get really, really dark, and then before you know it, you pass the point of no return and you're on the roller coaster with these characters. The acting was absolutely phenomenal. I love the fact that there is a side story with this one of the main characters, this young guy. He is trying to juggle his life and at the same time deal with the problems that his parents are dealing with, but it never feels like it's a sidetrack. It never feels like it's distracting. It all comes in for a very continuous flow, and that continuous flow prevents the movie from ever getting boring. It prevents the movie from ever sidetracking itself into side stories that don't really continue the film. There's a lot of side stories in movies that don't really go anywhere and they feel like it's a distraction, but this movie just handles everything brilliantly well. It only goes for about 80 odd minutes, and I thought that was fantastic, is because it gets to what it wants to do very quickly. The simplicity of the overall story really works in its favour, and it can really just eliminate all filler that a lot of other movies haven't. So it's one of the best endings you will see. The very last shot of this film just really sent a chill down my spine. It just really made me feel as though, while I'm bitterly depressed. And so be very careful. It does get quite dark, and it's going to take a lot of people by surprise. So the acting, phenomenal. The script was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, very funny, but then it starts to change a little bit towards the end, and it's an expert experience in what European cinema is all about. And so if it sounds like your kind of thing, Under the Tree is definitely a film I would highly recommend, but be careful, because the mood that you're in at the start of the film is not going to last to the end, and that's everything you want from an unpredictable story within a story that you think you know where it's going to go, but you don't. So you have no control, and that's exactly what I wanted from a movie, and that's exactly what I got. So overall, for Under the Tree, one of the best European films I've seen in a long time. I'm going to give this one 5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.